Imagine fragrant rice, tender chicken, and layers of spice that tell a story with every bite. Today I'm gonna be showing you two versions of chicken and rice, a 30-minute easy version and a 3-hour more traditional version. And the reason why I love chicken biryani so damn much is growing up down the street, one of my neighbors, Auntie Zarina, used to make us the best biryani in the world. And a while ago, I actually got on the phone and had a conversation on how she makes it so good. So what I'm trying to say is I got some street cred to make this dish. Delicious, you're gonna love it. The 30-minute version is just an easier way to get those delicious flavors without spending all day making food. But I promise you, we're not gonna be sacrificing any flavor. And the only prep you have to do is actually just cut an onion in half just like this. And the rest of the entire recipe is actually gonna happen in the pan. And then with the grains of the onion, I'm just gonna go as thin as possible. Now, like I said, this all happens in one pot. And I like to do a shallow pot just for the video so I could show you what's actually happening. Now, in our pot, I'm gonna go with a healthy amount of ghee. If you're not using ghee to cook your rice, you are missing out on so much flavor. We're gonna throw in our onions and start, building that flavor, just like this. So I'm just gonna cook these onions until they start getting, some brown edges. Again, this is the quicker version of the recipe, so you don't wanna spend too long cooking these. You wanna just start building that flavor out. If you feel like it's kinda getting a little too dry, you could just add a little bit more ghee because we want it to carry through as we cook the rest of the recipe. Now, once I start seeing some color on these onions, I'm gonna be using some pre-made masalas. Don't think because it's pre-made it's not good. I'm gonna add a lot of this masala, and this is gonna cut down so much time because it's already mixed for you. And you wanna get nice and generous. In the second you put this, it's already hitting my nose. You guys can smell that? Smells good. But you don't want these spices to burn, so I'm gonna move quick here. A little bit of garlic paste. I'm just using the squeeze bottle, and a little bit of ginger paste, just like this. And now I'm just gonna give this a quick mix. And the meat of choice that I'm using is some chicken drumsticks. So I'm just gonna add those in like that. So literally I'm gonna cook these thighs for just a couple minutes to get a little bit of color. And because her masala doesn't have any salt, this is a perfect time to just grab some and add it. And these are on the thicker side, so I'm gonna get nice and generous. So another quick hack, instead of adding, fresh tomatoes and having to cook them down, I really love using some fire roasted tomatoes. So once our chicken gets a little bit of color, I'm just gonna add a little bit of that in. Just scrape the bottom of the pan and just remove all those brown bits and just let that cook down. So at this point, you should be about 10 minutes in. You're looking for a nice deep color on the onions and the tomatoes. The chicken is starting to cook through, which is what we need. I'm gonna add one quick spoonful of yogurt to the marinade. If you add too much yogurt, it's gonna be too acidic for the rice and it's gonna make it kind of mushy. I'm just gonna mix that part in just like this. Again, this all happens in the same pan. And again, make sure the heat is not way too hot when you add the yogurt or it will separate and burn and be weird. So while this starts to come to life, I'm just gonna move over to the side over here. I'm using this Basmati sella rice. This is an extra long grain parboiled rice. You could use regular Basmati rice if you'd like. And I'm just gonna under the sink, run it down with some water. And I'm gonna do this about 3 to 5 times. You want to get all the starch out. Now that the rice is washed, I'm just gonna add it to the rest of that mixture. Now you could, kind of crank up the heat a little bit because you wanna get this to a nice temperature. I'm just gonna mix this all together. Now, as you can see, every single piece of rice has kind of been touched with love. The spices, the tomatoes, the marinade. The chicken is, releasing a little bit of its beautiful juice. I'm just gonna add our beautiful water. So right now, I am making sure that the bottom of the pan does not have any rice that is stuck. I'm just kind of, wiggling it through. Now that it's come to a nice aggressive bubble, we're gonna cover it and we're gonna drop to a low. We're gonna cook for 15 minutes. It's that simple. All of it happened in one pot. It should take you roughly 30 minutes. Don't get in my ear, it took me 45 and you it's a skill issue. Now, as the 30-minute biryani is cooking, I have some cilantro and I have some mint. Very gently and carefully give these a rough chop, and all this is gonna be a nice fresh topping on top of our lovely rice. Now for the mint leaves, what I like to do with the mint leaves is kind of just stack them on top of each other, roll them up and then just slice through them very thinly to get these nice thin strands. For the moment of truth. Woo! Now, I know a lot of you are gonna say, are you sure the chicken cooked? We cook it to temperature. It is 100% safe to consume. It's fully cooked, I promise. Mint and cilantro, I'm just gonna hit it just like that. You wanna get those beautiful biryani flavors. You don't wanna spend all day making it. This is the dish. Now, I am very, very, very excited to try this. I just want you to see how fluffy the rice comes out. Every rice strand stands for itself. And if you ask the guys with me, it smells amazing right now. It's not traditional looking chicken biryani, but just trust the process. So to properly eat this, I'm just gonna grab a beautiful bite of that tender, juicy chicken. And then you gotta eat with the hands. Bismillah. It has some biryani resemblance, but it's not like the exact flavor that I'm looking for, but it's really, really good. The first thing we're gonna make for the 3-hour biryani is our masala. This is called a dabba. We need bay leaf, star anise, black cardamom, green cardamom, cinnamon stick, clove, coriander seed, and fennel seed. We're just gonna throw them in a pan, just like this. And yes, you can reuse the Fadwa Masala or any masala that you have, but the 3-hour one needs all the love and control that we could get. So real quickly back here, I'm just gonna toast it real quick. And I totally forgot we need black peppercorns. The second you could smell these spices, they're done. I'm gonna take those spices and just very carefully drop them off into my spice blender. I'm gonna put my lid back on and just blend. This is what masala dreams are made of. This is gonna be used throughout our recipe, so I'm just gonna set it aside real quickly. Now listen, again, I am opting to use chicken drums. This is a very important step that we don't do in our 30-minute recipe. I'm actually gonna grab the skin just with my hand and I'm gonna tear it. I'm gonna grab my knife and score each piece, and that's gonna help the marinade penetrate. I'm just gonna transfer those off into a bowl so I can marinate them. And then in my beautiful mortar and pestle, I'm gonna go in with a large handful of heartburn, aka garlic. And then we need some ginger, so I'm gonna actually grab a spoon and just peel away with the spoon. That's just a hack if you did not know. It's just a really easy way of not wasting any ginger, getting it nice and peeled. So I'm gonna do like a, roughly a 1-inch nub. I'm just gonna slice through it and then add it to my heartburn. And then I'm gonna hit this all with a pinch of salt. And I'm just gonna go to absolute town on this. And now finally, it's time to marinate the chicken. Our ginger and garlic paste are gonna go right in just like that. Get very generous. You want this to be packing flavor. And then to this, we're gonna add a very healthy spoonful of full-fat regular yogurt, not Greek yogurt. Now, remember that masala we made? Again, very generous. Get very liberal with that. I'm gonna keep some for later. And again, you know me, I like to directly salt the chicken so I get the perfect amount. I don't like adding it to the actual masala. I have some Kashmiri red chili powder. That's gonna give it a nice, vibrant color. And then I'm gonna do a little bit of turmeric. That's gonna also give it that beautiful color. And then we just need a little bit of lemon juice in here. Now, the last thing I like to do is just hit this with a little bit of oil. And now you gotta give this all a nice, generous massage. That's the color of marinade that you want. Wrap it up just like this. Now, you know me, I like to say marinate this until you lose patience. You can go overnight very easily. So you can prep the chicken and make this tomorrow. I like to give it at least 1 hour in the fridge. Transparently, we've been marinating this chicken for 2 days. I did say at least 1 hour, but we want this to be maximum flavor. So I'm gonna set this aside, let the chicken kind of come to a temperature a little bit. Now, before you do anything, this step is so important. We're gonna make crispy onions, but we can't cut any corners. This is a 3-hour full flavor version. So we're just going to be making these thin, nice, beautiful slices. And don't skimp out on the onion. Onion is flavor. It's gonna perfume the entire dish. So we need lots of onions. I got 2 more of these bad boys. As soon as you're done with these beautiful onions, I'm actually gonna transfer them off to a cold pan. Lots of neutral flavored oil. You kind of want them to swim in the oil because we want these to like almost deep fry, if you will. We're gonna hit these with a nice hefty pinch of salt. And then literally back here, I'm gonna turn this onto a medium. And every couple minutes, I'm just gonna mix these up until they get nice and caramelized. Now for the rice of choice, I'm using this Pride of India brand. This is a naturally aged basmati rice. Again, I'm just gonna grab a couple scoops of my rice. I'm gonna move over. I've showed you how to do this before. Cold water, just kind of rinse down the rice multiple times. We wanna wash it out until it runs clear. This cooking method for rice is probably very new to most of you. I'm gonna be grabbing a hefty pinch of salt and just throwing it in. We're gonna kind of cook this like pasta. We're gonna throw it into boiling water until it's essentially al dente or 75% cooked. And to perfume the water, some cinnamon stick, some clove, some cardamom. And if you have some star anise, also throw it. You can throw a bay leaf if you want. It's rigorously boiling. I'm just gonna dump the rice. Very importantly, you wanna stir so it doesn't get stuck. And you're gonna have to, feel this rice out. You're gonna cook it 75%. If you overcook it, it's gonna be mushy. This part is so important. Right now, I'm gonna grab a piece of rice. I'm gonna try it. It has a really slight bite, so it's still not done yet. You wanna grab the rice and you don't wanna be able to smush it and smear it. You want it to still hold, but you want it to be hard on the inside. So there is a sweet spot. It's holding, but it's not too hard on the inside. I'm gonna kill the heat. I'm gonna move over real quickly and straight into a strainer. We kinda wanna cool it. We want each strand to kinda come back together, not be mushy at all. So I'm gonna actually spread my rice onto a big baking dish. Shake, shake, shake. Spread everything out. Just let this all cool down. Finally, time to cook the chicken. We're gonna start with ghee. Now that the ghee is nice and smoky hot, we're gonna very gently and carefully dump in our chicken. You're gonna scrape all the flavor from the bottom of the pan and just throw that in as well. I'm just gonna cook this for 5-10 minutes to, you know, kind of get a little bit of color, develop that fond on the bottom of the pan, and then I'm gonna start layering. It's gonna be that easy. Now, after about an hour and like 15 minutes, you're gonna get these beautiful, really dark colored onions. And these been just cooking for so long, and you're just gonna throw them onto a paper towel to kind of just drain out their oil. And as soon as they're done, I like to just kiss them with a little bit of salt. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this little strainer, throw a funnel into a bottle actually, and I'm just gonna strain. Good job. Well done. I've done this before and it went perfect. It's at least we seasoned our cutting board. Biryani has this very special color. We're gonna make that color with some saffron. Take a healthy amount of saffron, mortar and pestle, we're gonna just hit it and swirl it. You're gonna get this beautiful red color. And now we're actually gonna steep that with warm milk. We're just gonna let this sit and infuse for a couple minutes. Now it's finally time for assembly. I got my chicken on the bottom. On top of this goes in a nice, you know, handful of cilantro, more of that mint. Then we're gonna make a beautiful layer out of our crispy onions. And now it's time for our rice. I'm gonna go with about half of it. So you could do dollops of ghee right now on top of the rice, but remember the onion oil we spilled all over the cutting board? We're just gonna drizzle a little bit on top of that rice. On top of the rice, we need more fresh cilantro, more fresh mint, just like this. Another layer of crispy onion, and then we're gonna do more beautiful rice. Now, once we got the second layer of rice, I'm gonna do more infused onion oil, and then our saffron milk. We're gonna do 1 dash across. Every little droplet goes in. And if you touch this, your hand will turn red. And now to finish, cilantro mint and the rest of those beautiful onions. This is on a medium-low heat. If you listen, you hear the masala, the marinade on the bottom, lightly bubbling. We're gonna grab some foil and we are going to, as tightly as possible, seal this. We wanna trap in every ounce of heat that we could get. I'm doing 2 layers just to make sure. And then our lid goes on just to kind of, you know, tighten that up together. In just 25 minutes on a very low heat, and it's gonna steam. For the moment of truth, I got about 600, bro, show these goofballs, bro. Yeah, look. And now finally, it is time to plate. We're just gonna make a beautiful base out of our rice. Everybody's gonna have those crispy onions. And our beautiful plate, we're just gonna add a little bit of that raita. You're gonna grab a piece of beautiful, juicy chicken, that fluffy, perfect rice. And as always, now bismillah. If you enjoyed this video, you better subscribe for more.